Hey everybody. Let me pull this closer actually. I hate how much noise it's about to make. If you can hear me, okay, that's not too bad. If you can hear me and hear me well, give me a thumbs up emoji. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure that I always like to do my sound check just to make sure stuff is working properly. Um y'all, I'm not going to get into it until you give me that thumbs up. I need to know that you feel me that y'all can hear me. Okay, good. Thank you Adam Burns for letting me know that everything is copacetic. But anyway, so I'm going to get right into it. Because I plan to go to the gym after this, which is why I got on the get up, but I still had to put the earrings on because, you know, consistency. But regardless, yeah, I didn't even really know what I was gonna talk about until like last night. I was online and I saw that video floating around, which is what prompted this particular live. Now, in case you guys are unaware, the name of this live is why can I never remember the name of the live on the spot? It's Black Women Aren't Healing Centers, right? Now, I know a lot of people may not like hearing that and maybe like, well, black women don't want to help other people or black women don't want to be there for black men or whatever the case may be. That's not what I'm saying. There's a distinct difference between being there for somebody and providing emotional support versus like allowing yourself to be so drained and used that you have nothing for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And falling into this role of like a black savior complex. You feel me? So anyway, I saw the video floating around yesterday, and I think the day before yes, whenever it was, with Justin Bieber and SZA. Right now, if you guys haven't seen the video, SZA's on stage and she is performing her song "Snooze," and it features Justin Bieber. Right now, Justin Bieber, I'm not gonna say I know exactly what was going on with him because I don't. I can't say that he was intoxicated or inebriated. I was not there, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions and make assumptions about things I know nothing of. But what I will say is this, within that moment during the performance, SZA grabbed his face and brought his chin up, like his is a underneath here, which is a very somewhat intimate and what's the word I'm looking for? And compassionate. It's an intimate and compassionate thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And if you've ever done that to a man, if you're a woman, if you've ever done that to a man, you know how they respond, right? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's a performance. She's performing, whatever she's doing to cultivate the vibe on stage. I understand. You want people to be immersed in it. You want people to really feel involved and feel some sort of emotional connection with the performance as an artist. That's what you want, right? So this is not to say like, oh, SZA's doing anything. My issue with it is all the dialogue that is surrounding it, right? Now, in the thumbnail, you feel me, of this YouTube live, I have a couple of screenshots. Let me make sure I'm talking to the mic. I had a couple of screenshots that I put on there that I saw. Of course, the Shade Room gonna post it, and people gonna be in the comments. This particular comment on the Shade Room had 16,900 likes when I saw it yesterday. So I would assume that that amount has doubled, right? Um, on that particular video with SZA and Justin Bieber, somebody said, "I really want him to be his true self and get a black woman." Right? There's another video here. Let me see where the camera is. There we go. If you guys can see, it says, someone said his soulmate might be a black woman. And whenever I see like black women interacting with white men in any kind of way, there's always this thing associated that the black woman is supposed to like come and be a healing center or a therapist or whatever, and people start shipping different people. Like a lot of people did it with Halle Bailey and her love interest in the Little Mermaid movie. I don't know that white boy's name, but they were saying that they wish that they can be together instead of her and the dude that she was with at the time. You know what I'm saying? And then even still to this day, like when I see videos of Beyonce and Justin Timberlake performing Until the End of Time, which is a song I really like, honestly. I really love that song. But when I see them performing, there was always a lot of women in the comments, black women, saying things like, "Oh, I really wish they would have gone together. This would have been so cool. They would have made such a beautiful couple." And it's like, we don't want to be fetishized, right? As black women, specifically black women, because I'm a woman, I could speak on that. Black people as a whole, We are often fetishized, you know what I'm saying? You know the word I'm trying to say. It happens to us all the time. But we can't tell other people to stop doing it to us when we do it to ourselves. We can't expect other people to not put us in those positions of like we're just bodies or we're just here to service other people if we keep putting ourselves in that position. Why is it that whenever some, average white man has an interaction with a black woman, we are so like, "Oh, well, look at this. They should be together, and, he needs to go ahead and get him a black woman, da 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 da, blah, blah, blah." I really don't understand this need to, fetishize ourselves, first of all, and then second of all, have a black savior complex. And I know that's kinda weird, right? It's kinda weird hearing that because we hear it a lot. In the movies, there's a white savior complex. The white person comes in and they come and they save the day and all of that. And black women, to our credit, we are superb comforters. You know what I'm saying? Like we are really, really good at holding space for the people that we love and care about. Ain't nobody gonna build you up better than a black woman will. And we do it to everybody. We do it to other people that we see in the streets. I just saw a video of a like a it was some white girl in Europe, and she was doing a video in the street, and some black women walked past and just complimented her whole fit and her whole vibe. And we do that kind of stuff. We do it to all races of people, all genders of people. We're very good at showing love, and showing up. Sorry if you guys are hearing a lot of noise. The window is open. I'm trying to get a little breeze going because it's hot in Southern California today. But anyway, we're very good at that, which is something that is beautiful about us. But we have to stop throwing ourselves into situations and into scenarios that we don't need to be in. You feel me? If a person needs healing, if there's something wrong with a person, they need therapy and they need to be introspective. We are not healing centers. We do not need to take ourselves and martyr ourselves for the betterment of everybody else. We've done that for too long, in regards to our relationships, we do that. And I know it's a lot of brothers that follow me that might not agree with this considering there's a lot of different type of rhetoric going around, red pill rhetoric and manosphere rhetoric and things of that nature that says the opposite about our women. But in the reality of things, in real life, not on internet land where people are bitter and jaded and living in hypotheticals, but in real life, a lot of women are holding down men that aren't working, holding down men that might be struggling in between jobs, holding down men that don't make as much money as them. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that going on. So the point I'm making is that yes, we are very good at showing up, and being there when we respect the man. I want to put that in there too. You feel me? We're very good at that, but we can't just keep setting ourselves up for nonsense and for failure, okay? So let me see what some of these comments are saying, you feel me? Because I just want to talk about that. I saw that and it was so crazy to me. It's like, how many times are we gonna see like a black woman and immediately be like, "Oh yeah, she should be with this white man." It's like, what is that? Oh, she would heal him. No, he don't need no healing from no black woman. He needs therapy. We are not therapists, black women. We're not healing centers. We could only give so much. And the thing is, we be trying to give from a source that we don't have. We don't even have the skills necessary to be someone's therapist unless we've gone to school for such a thing or we've gotten the proper education to do such a thing. And even still, you ain't supposed to be a therapist to somebody that you actually in a relationship with. You could be a listening ear, but it's a conflict of interest there, you know? So, but anyway, let me look at some of these. Inglewood Edition, thank you for being in the live. I appreciate you. Tapped in, said happy Sunday to Erica and the chat family. Yes, happy Sunday to everybody. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Baked Beanie Siegel said, we as a, what's the type of name? Baked Beanie Siegel. Okay. We as a black community have to shun interracial dating as a whole is destructive in so many aspects. I feel you. I mean, me personally, I'm not going to shun anybody for what they do. If you want to go and be with somebody of another race, that's your thing. Me personally, it's not for me. It's not for me. So, but whoever, if you want to do whatever, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to shun you, but just my preference is my preference too. Okay. Um, Free My Grandma says, I hope you mean that black women aren't the sole providers of a healing center. Too much stress on them. Yes. Let me see. You said you have to be responsible to heal at least some parts of yourself. I get it. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Now we could hold space for the people in our lives because me personally, I like being there. I like showing up for people. That's like a thing to me. If I know that you're going through it emotionally, I am the friend that'll stay on the phone with you while you crying, you know? If I know that something crazy has happened to your life, I am the friend that will pull up and sit with you, and talk about it or whatever. We can hang out to get your mind off it, whatever's going on. I'll hold space for the people around me. And even when stuff is going well, because there's some people that only want to be around when stuff is going bad. But as soon as you start doing well and they perceive you to be doing better than them, then they know where to be found. I'm gonna be around in the highs and the lows. That's the kind of person that I am. But what he is saying is that, like, yes, we are not the sole providers of a healing center. We can offer, compassion and hold space for the people around us. I think that's very important. But to just take ownership of overextending ourselves, especially in a way that fetishizes us. I'm having a hard, that word is tearing me up. But you guys know what I'm trying to say. In a way that is not productive to us, then that's never a good thing. Okay. Um, Successful MD said divestors push that notion. I don't want to hear that. You feel me? Honestly, because I hear like brothers talking about divestors, but you like there's passport bros too, and the passport bros I feel like are very very loud. And made it very clear. Even still, like the divestor rhetoric has died down. You know what I'm saying? And it's still women that's doing it, but I feel like when women get with a different kind of man, it's not like as a jab at black men a lot of the time. They just going and being with a man and dealing with him. And it's not like, yeah, I had to get me this kind of man because black men just ain't it. Now I've seen that before, but it's rare. But the majority of the time that I see a brother with somebody else, is always, I don't like this black woman. Like the brother that he wasn't just recently, he was unalived by his white girlfriend. And they ruled that she was not guilty, but he had spoken right out his mouth that he'd rather be with a dog than a black woman. Rest in peace to that brother still. I'm not a petty, spiteful person. I think it's terrible that his life is lost, but that be the type of rhetoric that be coming from certain situations. Okay, I see this. But yeah, but anyway, let me look at some more of these because I've been talking for 12 minutes. This is gonna be a short live. Um, Let me go down a little bit more. Inglewood Edition said, one thing I can never understand about black people, men and women, is how a lot of them always seem to put white people on this crazy pedestal for absolutely no reason. I really don't get it. Yeah, this is very true. I don't know what this is about this proximity to whiteness, that we have to get past because it's an issue. And not just to make it seem like this whole thing is about black women wanting to be a healing center for white men. I'm just saying in regards to what prompted this video, seeing that and seeing it plastered all over the place. And it's just kind of weird that that's the first place that we go to. We shouldn't be a healing center for anybody. There was a comment that I saw on Threads where it was like a post that I saw on Threads, and it was a black woman talking about, being how black women are missing it because we're not being healers to black men, and how a black woman helps to make a man who he is, and we're missing it because there's so much that we're not helping them to grow and develop and all this other kind of stuff. And mind you, I do think that two people can come together and help them grow and develop, but that in my opinion was some nonsense, and I said it. You feel me? People have to be willing to grow and develop themselves. Like I can't be a subpar person and then expect a man to come in and do the work for me, or vice versa. A man can't be a subpar man and just expect a woman to come in and do the work. And I've seen this a lot because in a lot of lives I've talked about, like I've talked about leading, that leading aspect, because we talk about femininity a lot in the so-called black community, masculinity and femininity. And those are words I hope we can one day get away from because it's just a bunch of nonsense at this point. But it's talked about a lot, right? About brothers wanting feminine women and then women wanting masculine men. And it is true. You guys might not like what I'm about to say, but it's true. If a brother's handling business, if he's masculine, then it helps me to be in a space where I'm just giggling and not have to be concerned about much. You know, I've been in a couple relationships, and the one that I was in where I had to watch my back all the time, and the brother's was head was just in the clouds. He wasn't never paying attention. He was always a walking lick. He thought I was a little masculine. But, get with the man that I have now, he think I'm just the most feminine thing walking because I have no concerns when I'm with him. None at all. I don't have to be concerned with nothing. I don't have to be worried about nothing. I know he paying attention, watching my back, making sure everything is handled. So we might not like those type of things, those type of the type that type of rhetoric, but it is a true thing. And so when it comes to like men and women, like that post I was talking about that I saw on threads, when it comes to like trying to be the healing center and all of that, you know, men are like the metronome. When it comes to music, men are like the metronome. And I've said this before. If you guys don't know what a metronome is, it's what keeps the beat, right? This is what you start with. Anytime that I make music, I never start just I never start making a beat without a metronome because it's gonna be a whole bunch of, out of tune offbeat nonsense. You have to have a metronome or some drums or something that's steady where the direction of the beat is going. And then the women are like the instruments, the keys, the woodwind instruments, the brass, all the things that you put on top of that. You know what I'm saying? But there has to be some sort of metronome, some sort of beat that maintains structure and keeps the rhythm. And too often, you know, men be wanting women to start just with the keys, the piano, the flute, and all that kind of stuff, and be like, "Well, I'm gonna put the drums after." That's not how that works. I mean, you can if you're making beats, but you need a metronome first. Okay, you need to determine the tempo of the beat and where we going before we just start playing stuff and putting it on. So that's what I mean. Not to say that women cannot help men to be better, but it's like y'all gotta same with men and women alike. We both have to be willing and actively working on ourselves to be better because neither of us should be healing centers to each other. We can help each other and hold space for one another as we both enter into a place of self mastery and shadow work. But that has to be done by self. I can't expect a man to do that for me. My dad told me a long time ago that he felt like, the what people say um about this person being my other half is a mistake. He told me that a long time ago. Ain't nobody else your other half. He said if two people that are half come together, it's not gonna make a whole person. It's just gonna be two half people and it's gonna be a mess. What needs to happen is one whole person comes together with another whole person. And then that's what makes it work, but not some person thinking that this other being is going to complete me or they're my other half. I'm whole and complete within myself. And once I really focus on keeping myself together, I could align myself with somebody else who is focused on keeping themselves together. You know, I've literally broken up with men before because I felt like they weren't focused enough on themselves, keeping themselves together, being the best possible version of yourself that you could be. If you're not doing that, then I can't be with you because I'm not your healing center, you know? But anyway, let me look at what some of these comments are saying. Also, I have a super chat goal. I have one every week. If y'all want to show love, you definitely can. Just gonna throw that out there. But let me read some of these comments. I'm starting to sweat. But anyway, let's see. Dr. Steele said therapy. I always say that before getting into a relationship, you have to be of a sound mind for sure. It's too many people that think that another person coming in is going to like fix all of their problems. It'd be the idea that another person or a baby. And it's like, neither one of those things are going to fix it. Another person coming into your life ain't going to heal you, which is why this whole Justin Bieber SZA thing is scary to me that so many people see that and be like, "Oh, look at them. They need to be together." Like That would be hell. If that was a thing, that would be hell. Imma read some more of the comments that was on that post. I screenshotted it, where, on the shade room, the person commented, "I really want him to be his true self and get a black woman." This is a woman talking about in reference to Justin Bieber. And then another person commented underneath and said, "Why? So she can carry the burden he can't handle? Why should a black woman bear his emotional labor?" So glad that at least one person in them comments had an inkling, a shard, a remnant, a fraction of sense. Okay. Because that's the reality. And we can't, men and women alike, we can't do that. We can't do that. Carry a burden that they can't handle. Carry all this heavy emotional labor when we struggling with our own stuff. Not to say that we got to be selfish people and not be concerned about the people in our lives. We hold space for the people in our lives for sure. But I'm not fixed. I'm not build a bear. You feel me? I'm not the fix it lady. I can't be. I cannot be that. And we shouldn't want to be that for other people. Two broken people getting in a relationship ain't gonna be nothing but chaos and mess. But anyway, let me see what some of these comments are saying. I don't even know what this is. Jiggy J said brothers got to start standing on business when they see interracial couples. It was all by design. There are too many single brothers grinding hard, so systematically their potential wives have been taken is what that's supposed to be. I mean, I suppose I you know, I see some brothers grinding hard, you feel me? I do. And I don't know what it's like to be a black man, so I'm not going to, judge harshly or anything like that, but it's a lot of nonsense, you feel me? Someone said, "I'm God's girl," said not all interracial relationships is bad, but yet but vet, that's what you said, but vet, yeah. Look, I'm not here to say this ain't a me bash interracial relationships thing. You feel me? Because like I said, I know what my preference is. Black love is my thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not in the business of trying to make people feel bad about who they're with or who they decide to be with. Do what you want. All I'm saying is like, let's not martyr ourselves and take on emotional burdens and labor from people that can't even hold their own burdens because that never works. Whether you're in an interracial relationship or not, that is never a productive thing to do. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. Um, the lucid experience says, "What you mean in internet life? Let's not dismiss that claim just because you aren't fond of that rhetoric because it doesn't match with you." I'm trying to remember to call back to what I said. I think it was in regards to the divestors and passport bros type of people, and like I'm I try to be as unbiased as possible. I know it's raggedy perspectives on both sides. The divestors who was like, "Oh, we're done with black men," they were raggedy, and the passport bros was like, "Oh, we're done with black women," were raggedy too. But the reality remains the reality. You know what I'm saying? It's normally I could pull up so many instances of brothers talking about they're with their interracial or other race woman because of the things that they don't like about black women. When you ask black women why they with they other dude, they talk about why they like that man. You feel me? And I'm not saying it's 100% of the time, but look it up for yourselves and see what you find, okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So it ain't me trying to dismiss no claims. I live in Los Angeles, brother. This is the interracial relationship capital of seem like the whole United States. Everywhere I go, I see a black man with a different kind of woman. Every time I'm out. So I'm just telling you the reality of what it is. Okay. And that's why I'm not pressed about it. I don't be looking at them black men like, it's just whatever. You do what you want. And I'm gonna do what I want. Research Twin says black women need to admit their attraction, desire to white men already. Yeah, see, this is one of the reasons why I did want to tell you guys that I'm be going live once a month from now on. Because yeah, I just prefer to make long form content and post the videos and just post them instead of be sitting on here with this. If you guys hear yelling and stuff, folks is watching games in my household. I hope y'all can't hear that, but it's sports fans also live here, okay? But anyway, yeah, be going live once a month at the end of the month because I don't be having a bandwidth a lot of times. You feel me? I forgot why I initially stopped doing this because it'd be like, ugh, because comments like that. You come to my page, a woman that ain't never been with, kissed, held hands, or nothing like that with a white man, and say something like black women need to admit their attraction, desire to white men already. You know, it's one of the reasons why I stopped talking because it's like, what is the point? I could get on here and tell y'all I'm for black love all day long, but y'all still gonna formulate your own opinions. Anyway, Eric Williams says it's not for me either, Eric LeShai, because I love my sisters too much to walk across the street. I feel you. I definitely feel you. I understand your sentiments, man. Let me see. Oh Lord, some of these comments. Jesus. I'm just gonna read them so that people can know why. Like I'm navigating the way that I do. Jiggy J says, when a brother see an interracial couple, you need to look at look at it as if your wife has been stolen. Look at if your wife has been stolen. I guess that's what he was trying to say. In a natural, healthy environment, a queen would never subject herself to interracial dating facts. Yeah, I mean, if that's how you want to see it, you feel me? But regardless, someone says Erica keeps that timer close. I do. I've been talking. It's right there. It's on the screen. I've been talking for 26 minutes and 37 seconds. But anyway, yes. Let me read some of these comments. Iquaba seems like that's how that's. Forgive me if I'm saying that incorrectly. Says sometimes we forget to stop and smell the roses. This is very true. Eric Williams said, "Yeah, Eric LeShai, he did say that he was selling out and paid for it later." Yeah, to the brother, that's unfortunate. You know, I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not petty and like wishing death or harm upon anybody at all. But you know, there's things that have been said. You feel me? That yes. Um, Wildwood said, "No one is a healing center." Exactly. This is very true. The reason why I specify black women though is because like we take a lot of emotional um baggage. We hold that up. Like men just naturally aren't as vocal with what's going on with you guys. Like you might not say a lot, you know, or if you do, your behavior changes and we still have to take the brunt of that. You know, there was an interview between I think Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, and she was saying, you know, why can't you fake it with me? Be nice and happy when you come home to me. Because even if men aren't saying that they're stressed out, their behavior changes. You know, there's no man meaner in the world than a man that's having financial problems. The sweetest, kindest, most considerate, most thoughtful, reasonable man could turn into a jerk once his finances start messing up. He might not say nothing to you, but his behavior will change, and we still have to carry the emotional weight of that. And of course, it's hard on him. It's never easy when your finance is not right, whether you're a man or a woman. But I could only imagine that is, you know, even emphasized more so when you're a man and you feel like you have to provide for everybody. So I feel for you in that instance, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot of weight and emotional baggage that is carried. You know, a lot of things that go on within the household, things that I saw my mother had to put up with, even though I love, you know, my parents are still married, but stuff that she just had to endure and burdens that she had to carry. And I'm like, damn, it seems like a lot to have to deal with emotionally and mentally. And is anybody really helping you to offload some of that nonsense, you know? But anyway, let me see what the super chat says. Inglewood Edition, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Erica going live each Sunday is now a part of my weekly routine. Oh, and then I just said I wasn't going to go live. I'm still going to be going live, but I'm just going to be posting like actual videos instead of doing as many lives because I feel like the video posting will be, you know, it'll be easier to edit and just post whenever. You know what I'm saying? So let me read some more of these comments and I'm going to get off of here. Um, Inglewood Edition again says Los Angeles is in touch in the Bay Area when it comes to interracial dating. Also, nobody up there is dating their own race. Yeah, you know, I don't know what the Bay is like. You feel me? I don't live there, but I could only, you know, go by what you guys say. Um, Knicks fans, what is the West Coast? You feel me? But anyway, I don't know who they're rooting for. I'm not like I don't know who's in whatever anymore because I'm not really invested. I used to be more into sports when I was younger, but not so much now. Um, Just Me says you can pull a very wealthy white man, bruh. Most black women are race loyal. Yeah, I mean it's true. Like black women are like the least likely to date outside of our race, statistically speaking. So all this like we divested and we out here just lusting over white men. According to the statistics, we the most race loyal out of everybody. So yep. Let me see. Ju Juwan Budford, is that how you say your name? Hopefully. You says you are easily one of the most grounded, honest, and level-headed sisters I've heard online. Keep your head and showing up. Your message is for those who resonate with it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Big Money said, "Oh man, I was just tuning in." Yeah, I'm still gonna go. Inglewood Edition said that's one of my favorite interviews, talking about that Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, because that is like the people that are close to us and at home, they get the worst of our energy. And a lot of times it be the women that be at home having to take in the worst, of the nonsense that comes our way. But, it's something that we do have to do, but communication has to be had so that some of that emotional weight is shared. Um uh let me see. Just looking at some of these comments. David Kelsler says, you don't have to entertain comments that don't resonate with you. I appreciate your perspective and I hope you continue to go live every week. Don't allow the detractors to discourage you. Peace. Yeah, I mean, before I saw that comment, I had made up, like before I went live today, I decided that I probably should tone down the frequency because it's just a lot. Like next Sunday, I'm not going to be able to do it because I have plans. And then the Sunday after that, I have plans as well. And so I don't really like talking about current events and stuff like that. And then having just like I don't mind you all that rock with me having like access and us having these conversations back and forth and being able to see your comments, and all of that. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I'm just gonna be 100% transparent with y'all when I tell you this right now. I have over the years garnered the support and attention of some people that I wish never even knew that I existed. Okay. So I made my first video in 2018 where I posted it just sharing my perspectives, right? And I've been talking ever since, sharing my perspectives and what I think. And I remember my first video was about like it was the saying going around that said that black men were the white people of black people, right? Saying that like black men are like, white people of the world have historically oppressed and colonized most all the world. And so to say that black men are the white people of black people is a very harsh and untrue criticism, right? And so that's what I made my video about because black men might hurt our feelings. They might say something about us that we don't like or talk about our appearance or our skin or hair texture or whatever. But none of that um, is as crazy as like colonizing one group of people while starting the genocide of another. You know what I'm saying? None of that is as crazy as withholding housing, loans, jobs, redlining neighborhoods and communities, keeping people from affordable housing, removing equal opportunity. Like we cannot compare those two things, right? And so I posted my first video saying that because during that time I felt like there was a lot of negative stereotypes about black men, and no one was speaking up on you all's behalf, right? And so I decided to speak up on it because I have four brothers and a father, and I'm very grateful for how they were to me my whole life growing up. I had a very good example of men growing up in my life. And even though my boyfriends haven't been perfect, I haven't had boyfriends that were just terrible. They always made it a point to try to take care of me and make sure I was straight, except for one. I dated one person that I felt like was trying to destroy my life. But, that just was just one guy, and I'm not gonna condemn and damn all brothers on the account of that one terrible experience, okay? But anyway, so I continue to make videos, right? And as time progresses on, the pandemic happens, people start buying podcast equipment, they start sitting up in their rooms saying a bunch of crazy stuff about black women, right? And I had been on the forefront of trying to be unbiased before all of that even happened. You know what I'm saying? Before all of that even happened. I was trying my best to be unbiased and be a neutral voice that understood where black men and black women were coming from. And I would always say this. I used to say this like once a week, that black men and black women are suffering from a shared traumatic experience that neither of us are responsible for. So us trying to blame each other is is um is a ridiculous perspective and a ridiculous way to look at things, because again, we're suffering from a shared traumatic experience that neither one of us are responsible for. You feel me? And I still hold true to that. But then, soon as I started to say something that the brothers might disagree with a little bit, or they feel like I'm speaking up too much for the women, it was the brothers that, was holding. You guys probably don't remember this, but it was 2 years ago in 2023. Some brothers got together and held a Twitter space about me. It was more than 2,000 people had tuned in live about why I'm an op for the black community, and why I'm like, you know, I'm a chameleon or all this other kind of stuff, right? And it wasn't just that. It was all the brothers that had YouTube channels and was posting videos about me taking my lives, breaking them down piece by piece. Other brothers in the comments calling me all out my name, all sorts of B words. And it's like, okay, these were like the same type of men that I was advocating for, right? And so as a result, of me initially talking in the way that I spoke, I was talking about men that were like my brothers and my dad, men that actually care about the women in their lives. With my brothers that are married, they're married to black women. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about men like that, men who understand the importance of being there for their communities and raising up and fathering their children and being active fathers in their lives. Those are the type of brothers I was talking about. But it seemed like all the brothers that couldn't stand black women, not all of them, but a lot of them came and leached on to me and started telling other black women that they need to be more like me. And I was just like, damn, I done dug a hole for myself. Deep in this hole and I can't get out. So I stopped talking because I was like, I wish I could just start all over. And I started over with my Twitter. That's the reason why I deleted my Twitter. I had 60,000 followers on Twitter. And I was like, I'd rather have none than to have the type of people on there that was following me. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, you guys may think that like people that get up and talk and have our perspectives and all that kind of stuff are impervious to the nonsense, but we not. Sometimes it'd be like, I'm just not in the mood, you know? I don't want to have to deal with this. I'm over here trying to help, be a good voice, a balanced voice. I don't have to do this, especially if the same folk that I was advocating for gonna turn around and stab me in the back. And so then when I get back on live and I see people in the comments spouting the same type of rhetoric that I was seeing before folks started talking crazy about me, and made me be like, yeah, I probably don't need to do this as much. You know, probably should pivot and start doing with the things that actually bring me joy, if I'm being 100% honest with y'all. But anyway, let me read some of the comments and see what y'all got to say. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Isaiah HD said destroy, or Isaiah D. No, is that HD? I can't see. I can't tell. Said destroy your life. Yes, yes. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But yeah, he tried to trap me because I wanted to leave him. You know what I'm saying? He tried to trap me. I didn't appreciate that. Let me see. Successful MD, thank you for stating the obvious. I appreciate you though. Says when going online and giving your thoughts and opinions, not everyone will agree with you. Yes, this I know. Now, I don't mind people not agreeing with me, especially people of other races. White people mad at me or whatever. They were real mad at me about that Kanye West video, because a whole lot of Jewish people is calling me anti-Semitic. And it's like, I don't care. Like I don't give a damn. But I do care. I can't even front. I do care when it's a mass of black men or black women, you know? I'm not gonna act like you guys don't know what that feels like. You don't know what it feels like to like post content and go viral to where millions of people have seen the video. The views got millions, it got millions of views and it has thousands of stitches and like all sorts of stuff. Now, mind you, I don't just sit up and look at that. Like there's been videos of mine that have gotten millions and millions of views and I haven't looked at a single stitch video. But I knew it was nonsense. It's like people in there are trying to rip me to shreds. Folks was sending me death threats over one video that I posted. You know what I'm saying? And when it's people from your own community, that's when it sting just a little bit more. Cause it was at the same time that the brothers was having a space about me. The sisters didn't like what I was saying. You feel me? And they told me they hope I got hit in the face with a brick. It was about that video about that black woman who had faked getting hit with a brick and had us having gender war debates for the past few months until it came out that she was lying. Yeah. But anyway, let me see. Locomotion said, nasty work. Bryant Fagan says, turn up your volume, go harder, accelerate the process. Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a lot like there has to be a more productive way. Like I said, I'm just gonna post. This doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be active on YouTube. I'm definitely going to be active. I just won't be going live as much. Meaning I'm gonna post videos regularly. Like you're gonna expect to see a video from me every week. As far as just being live every week, probably not. You know what I'm saying? But I will still be here live every month. And that's just what that is. Inglewood Edition said people were able to capitalize off of rhetoric and black trauma. Once they saw it was a money grab, they immediately ran with the narrative and nonsense. It's very true. Very, very true. The day that people realize they can monetize negativity and hatred, it's like the floodgates opened and it was crazy. Six Hustle says, Dear Black woman, you were loved. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You were loved too, black man. David Kessler says, I shared your videos and not to weaponize them to attack melanated women. Unity is the goal. It's beautiful. I appreciate you. Floor Deles, is that what I hope that's what your name it says? Was Tariq on your side? Um, Initially, when I first started talking, in the so-called conscious community or whatever, it was a lot of people on my side, especially with me speaking in defense of black men. Was a lot of brothers on my side, you feel me? And they wanted me to be a part of different things. But when it came time to like test what they said against, the reality of how they move in life, that's where there was a disconnect, you know? So not specifically Tariq, you feel me? But I will say that, other brothers have asked me to come to different events and, like did not have stuff together. You feel me? It's like you want me to promote the event on my page, but you have not secured any type of flights or anything to let me know where I'm gonna be. I'm a woman. I need to know where I'm gonna be at in advance, especially if I'm coming to a city I'm unfamiliar with. And then to like purchase skip lag tickets. You feel me? This wasn't the situation with Tariq Nasheed. This is just somebody else. To purchase skip lag tickets, you feel me? If you guys don't know what skip lag is, then go look it up. To where I can't even bring a check bag if I pay for it. Like you want to make money off me coming to your event, but you have no intention to make things comfortable for me as a black woman, but your whole rhetoric is that the black woman is God. Okay. It was just a lot of that. A lot of that kind of stuff going on. Mistreated by, brothers in the so-called conscious community. And this is not to take jabs at y'all or nothing like that. It's really not. But it's a lot of rhetoric about the black woman being this and the black woman being that, but I feel like it's just said, or at least then it was said to to sell things, whether or not it was to keep people coming back to the content or to sell courses or to sell products or tickets or whatever the case may be. And in 2020 there was a lot of black people in general that were just understanding like the conscious community. There was a lot of people that really wanted to immerse themselves into fully understanding the Black American experience and then, delving a little bit into Pan-Africanism. So it was people that was coming from the streets, people that was coming from other religions. They was coming from all sorts of places. And the conscious community had a very big opportunity to really nurture and provide a space for those people that were coming in, that were looking for community, they were looking for something, and largely we fumbled it. We sold them courses, events, swindled money out of them, emotionally manipulated them until the people figured out what was going on and went back to their ways. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Anyway, let me see the main line. Thank you so much for the super chat. He said, I just tuned in, but I appreciate your advocacy for Black men, women, and the Black family. The deindustrialization video you did a few years ago about how it affected us in the 60s, 70s, and 80s should be heard by all. Stay true. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, that live I did a couple of years ago. I did a lot of studying because I really wanted to get down to the root of like what started, this confusion within our communities and our relationships as a whole. So yeah, that is a really good video, and I appreciate you going back and watching it. Let me see. Successful MD said your music and vocals are strong. Always do what gives you peace and growth. Thank you. I will. Force of Nature 77 says, as a 40-year-old black male, I'm tired of waiting. I don't know what you're waiting for, what that means. So but I hope that you are doing what you can while you're waiting on what you're waiting for. You feel me? Let me see. Let me see. Oh yeah, so people going back and forth in the comments. Let's not do that. Serious Ross said, the one terrible boyfriend you had, when did you start seeing red flags? Honestly, I started seeing them early on. It was my fault. But the reason why I stuck around for as long as I did is because I didn't understand what I was getting myself into. You you know how you see things that you'd be like, this is a this is a slight cause for concern, but you don't know how crazy it can get. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you go out into the beach, right? You go out into the beach and you splash into the water and might notice the water a little cold. And it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of cold, but it's not bad. But you don't realize that you could get sucked out into the ocean with an undercurrent. You don't realize that danger is looming because it seems all right and it's not too bad. It ain't nothing too crazy. But you don't understand how close and how near danger is. So that's what happened in that situation. I saw some flags early on, some things that he would say that I'd be like, I really don't understand that line of thinking. But I stayed because I had never experienced nothing like that before. And so now that I've experienced, I have a zero tolerance policy. Like everybody that know me know I don't play. Soon as you start acting weird, I block you. You have a half a chance. You know what I'm saying? Not even a full chance. Soon as you start showing me some inconsistency, some jealous energy, or whatever, blocked. Cause I'll never go through nothing like that again. But yeah, so it was yeah. Let me see. Dr. Steele says you mentioned that there were blacks who had negative comments about you, which is a shame. Do you get negative comments from black women? Thank you so much for the super chat. From black women, no, not often. Not It's very rare that a black woman to come into my comments being crazy towards me. It's rare. It be the brothers that when I post a selfie of myself and be in the comments like, you that damn fine and still single. And it's just like, ugh. How come you're not married yet? You're getting too old. Your eggs about to expire. And it don't even be nothing about Nothing ab it's just a picture, a selfie I posted. So, no, the sisters don't be doing too much. They didn't like that bonnet video I made, and they said that, I was trying to have proximity to whiteness because I feel like black women should at least try to look halfway decent in public, but nobody was really on my line, trying to say crazy stuff about me. They was making mad videos and stuff, but it wasn't nothing too crazy. They wasn't trying to cut me deep with their comments. But anyway, out the way says, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, thank you for sharing. Trust me, real black men appreciate your angle. Do whatever continues to bring you joy, and F them cowards. Been watching you for years, so keep going. God bless. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. See a lot of messages retracted. Um, okay. I've been talking for 50 minutes. This is way longer than I had intended to. Um, let me see. Out the way said you can't just talk, you gotta have action behind your words. Facts. Yes, that is very true. Trues No TV said all of them be manipulating their own people. It is, man. It's a lot of manipulation that went on, which is why I distanced myself from the conscious community, as a whole, because it was a lot. You feel me? Like the only thing I've ever sold y'all was earrings in my music, and I ain't tell y'all that y'all needed my earrings in order to be a better black person or nothing like that. It was just if you like them, and y'all asked me for this. I made earrings for me. Like when I first made the goddess earring, I made the earrings because I like having different, like eclectic jewelry that no one else is gonna have. And it was women in my comments asking me about them. Do I sell them? So I started selling them, you know. But that's the only thing I've ever sold you guys. I did one meet and greet in like March of 2020, but it wasn't no course. I went out there. It was me and Justin Blue. We had an event, and we did this event called Divine Balance. And there was vendors there. People could sell stuff and make money. I took pictures with a lot of people, but I ain't never sold y'all no course. I ain't never asked y'all for nothing. You feel me? I put my cash up there because you asked me to. Y'all did. Y'all said, "Hey, Erica, you should put your cash app on there so people could cash app you." Okay, but I ain't never asked y'all for nothing. I ain't never sold you no course or nothing like that. And not to say that everybody selling courses is bad, but people telling you a course of how to become a millionaire when they like not a millionaire is crazy. Or selling you a course about how to maintain and start your own business when they ain't got no business. Their business is selling you courses. That's crazy, you know. And I ain't do that. So yes, it was a lot of manipulating our own people, and it was a sad time that a lot could have changed, but it was fumbled, you know. Okay, choose no TV. I like you gonna have to because you be in my lives a lot. You gonna have to clean this up. You gonna have to tell me what's up, or else I'm not, or else. But said everybody want to marry her except the one that she's with. No disrespect. You feel me? I don't know what it is you trying to get at. You feel me, or what you're trying to say. But you gonna have to clean that up. You gonna have to fix something. That's a story I want to hear. Okay, well, yeah. I break up with men. That's the scoop. I decide they're not aligned with what I want in my life, and I'm not so desperate to be with somebody that I just get with any old body. Because I understand being with the right person is better than just being with somebody for the sake of having somebody so I don't feel lonely. That's another thing about relationships is that people get in them because they are lacking within themselves and they feel, you know, people don't like being alone. There's some people that are habitually in relationships. They have to be with somebody. Soon as they get out of one relationship, they get into another. I actually like myself, and I don't have to be jumping from relationship to relationship. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind being alone. I don't mind sitting with my own thoughts because I don't want nobody around me that I don't like being around. But just to have somebody for the sake of having somebody, I've seen what that looks like, and for me, that's my own personal form of purgatory. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so anyway, let me see. Dr. Seal said, "Wow, most of the content creators I rock with are black women, and they used to have daggers thrown by other black women. They were called male-centered pick-me's and mammies." I have been called a pick-me before. I have been called a pick-me and a mammy for sure, you know? But, the frequency of it is very, you know, it's not nearly as it's not as much as what I get from the brothers. I will say that. The women have had, called me a pick me or a mammy or whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah. Oh well, But it's definitely more from the brothers than it is from the sisters, that's for sure. Um, let me see. Okay, I'm about to get off the live. I've been talking for almost an hour. GC says, "Sell your music and earrings or anything else. You deserve to be paid for the time and messages you give." Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm gonna continue to do my music because that's honestly what brings me peace. You feel me? And it's something that I enjoy, and I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. And yeah, that's just how I feel about it. Let me see. Out the way said, "I'm so proud that you are from the West. Hey, you know what I'm saying? LA streets ain't no joke. Tough to stay on the straight path." Yeah, you feel me? I'm West Coast. But anyway, that's all I have to say. You know, when it comes to relationships as a whole, this ain't a thing to bash interracial relationships or whatever. Again, my vibe is black love. That's always what it's gonna be. But anybody on the live that might have a, down with the swirl, I'm not mad at you. Do what you want. I'm not trying to control how other people navigate and live their life. But what I am saying is we cannot be healing centers to other people. Okay. We cannot go and think that someone else is going to complete us or fix all of our problems, or we can't think that we're going to fix somebody else. Because that's what happened to a lot of women. A lot of women specifically will ride directly off of potential. Oh, I know what he can be. Well, you got to deal with what he is. Okay. It's nice what he can be, but if he don't want to be that, then you'll just be you know, waking up every morning to the potential and be frustrated as to why stuff ain't moving the way you want it to. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I love you guys. I'll tap back in, a few weeks from now. But in the meanwhile, I will have a video posted this week, about different things. But I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your what is this Memorial Day weekend? I appreciate you guys being on the live. Bye.